marriage. It is doing all within your power to make your marriage successful. Commitment is the glue that holds the couple together. Love will bring you and your spouse together. But this love may wane, but commitment keeps you going. So commitment is a decision to have the blissful and abundant marriage God desires for you, regardless of circumstances or whether you think your spouse is doing his or her part. See, God instituted marriage, and everything God instituted is good. But how is it that in real life, so many marriages are tottering on the brink of collapse? Many marriages, are just being endured. Thank God for those that are happy, but a larger percentage can be happy if commitment is fully deployed. So commitment is an act of the will. You decide to make your marriage work. Feelings of love naturally follow acts of commitment. So you don't have to feel, oh, I have to love my wife. I'm in the mood to love my wife, before you do the things that will make your relationship work. You don't have to feel that. You take the decision, and the feelings of love will follow. Marriage requires the same kind of thoughtful attention, planning, and deliberate investment that we give to our physical health and financial portfolios. We take care of ourselves. So from time to time, you look at your marriage. Can it be better? What am I getting it right? Is my spouse happy? It's very important. Now, the mindset that undergirds commitment in marriage are threefold. When you see a couple, as they relate to each other, there are three levels of commitment. The commitment may be personal. That is, you may be committed to your relationship to your wife. It may be to your marriage as God ordained the institution. For some people, fine, I don't want anybody to know in my church that I'm not happily married or things are not fine in my home. The commitment is to preserve that perception of people that I'm happy with my wife. So they do everything at that level. Even if it means fighting with your wife in the morning before going to church service, it doesn't matter. But nobody must know what is happening there. And then commitment can be structural. That is based on what society will think about you. I don't want to be branded as somebody who has had a failed marriage. So it's important. Dr. Michael P. Johnson, a sociology professor at Pennsylvania State University, views the decision to continue in a relationship as a function of these experiences at three levels: personal, moral, and structural. These types of marriages can be further explained this way. When a spouse has a personal commitment to the wife, he or she thinks this way: I want to continue in my marriage. I take pleasure in being married. I enjoy being committed to my spouse. So with this mindset, he relates to the wife. Now, when somebody has a moral commitment, the spouse thinks this way: I believe staying in my marriage is the right thing to do. I will stick to it because of my values and beliefs. I made a commitment before God and society and I want to keep my word. So he does everything to fulfill that vow. But with structural commitment, the thinking in his mind is, I have to stay married. I can't afford the negative consequences of divorce on my finances, my social relationship, and the way others might perceive me. Divorce will also be detrimental to my children. So in every marriage, these sentiments are there. So the active presence of multiple facets or layers of commitment makes one's marital results stronger than if one facet alone was present. So there are some lessons recently from Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos. These are, at one time, each of these men was the richest man in the world. So these two men experienced high-profile divorce. In 2021, Bill and Melinda Gates announced their divorce after 27 years of marriage. Jeff Bezos and Mackenzie Scott finalized their divorce in 2019 after 25 years of marriage, with a significant settlement that included a large portion of Bezos' Amazon stock. Both divorces were among the most expensive in history. Now, when you look at it, Jeff Bezos paid the wife $38 billion for the marriage to break. And Melinda Gates got an undisclosed sum, but it's speculated to be about $76 billion. Now, they gave their spouses this amount of money because they worked together to build the company. They had children, but somewhere along the line, there was commitment was eroded, and now the men wanted out. Even though the Gates reflects and says that is his worst mistake in life, but look at it. That how could they have lived for 25 years and then 27 years, and then the marriage broke, and the men are easily paired up, got other females to settle with. In fact, I think Jeff Bezos this weekend or the coming weekend will be celebrating the second marriage in Venice. But what is there is that commitment to the wife, something happened to it, because if nothing happens, that marriage will not break. So that's important. It's very interesting when we look at commitment. There's another example that a lot of people were surprised that the marriage went through such turbulence, but they didn't divorce. That was Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. You remember the mess? Everybody thought, in America, you can get divorced just for any reason. But with this one, with the shame and all, Hillary stuck to the husband. Despite the belief that, that marriage will break. And when later on, they asked Bill Clinton about marriage, he said, marriage is an investment. Now, he showed so much support to the wife when the wife was campaigning against Obama. Remember, in fact, on one occasion, Obama had to ask, who am I contesting against? Is it you, Bill Clinton, or your wife? That's an example of their level of commitment to one another. So that when people now make the remark that, look, these people's marriage is very different from other people's own, they know what they are doing. That's the perception that I have today, that commitment is investment in marriage. You invest in marriage. And like every investment, you watch how it grows. Now, strengthening marital commitment. Your best guide to how committed you are to your marriage is to ask yourself the following questions. Has your marriage been on autopilot for so long that neither you nor your spouse have a clue where you are headed? That is, it's not getting attention at all. Has it been left unattended to for so long? Marriage has to be attended to. And the purpose of the lecture here is to teach us the ropes, so that we can add to what we are doing to uphold, to strengthen our marriage. You see, when the Purpose Driven Fathers network started, it was my observation in the hospital that when a mother is sick, when she calls the child will ask to speak to the doctor. Say, please take care of my mother and give me your bank account. If you ask for a deposit, they will add more to it. Please, nothing must happen to my mother. For some fathers, they will just be there all day. My child is going to send money. My child is going to send money. Nothing happens. And it's not every father that did not take care of his children or the wife. There's something wrong. In fact, my daughter-in-law, who is a doctor, said, either when she was doing her housemanship, either the female ward is always busy, but the male ward, quiet. I used to be a lover of having all boys. During my housemanship, I did my house job in a Baptist hospital. We had a private ward. It's very expensive compared to the general ward. But a lot of times, the men are quiet, lonely, alone. And I will ask, what's the problem, sir? Do you have children? Say, yes, they are all boys. It was then I knew that a permanent secretary can come and sleep on a mat beside the father. The boy has his own family to take care of. I had to do a quick rethink that, I try to interpret circumstances. What is happening? How are we men relating with our children in such a way that they cannot see our needs when we need them? That's the reason why I started the Purpose Driven Fathers Network. Come. We must talk to ourselves because I understand what is going on here. I even had a case once when a very prominent man in the town, the son came from London. He had been telling me that the son was coming. And when the son came, a doctor stayed in Lagos. They came to me and called me. I waited till 2. I had to go home. I go on break at 2. And he said, look, I'm just here. I'll be going back in 30 minutes. So I just told him that there's no way we could meet. I gave him the summary of that situation on the phone. Another man's son, very prominent man here, he was also dying at a later time. The son came from the US. On the day he was to go, the father had told me the son was going. What happened? He got to worry. He turned back. He said he couldn't leave his father. The father died that very night. But I could see the difference now. That there's a way the man connected with his children. He had many boys. In such a way that the bond was strengthened. That's about it. So your best guidance. I'm talking about strengthening marital commitment. Where would you like to see your marriage go this year? Are you committed to making positive changes? In what areas? Do you expect your marriage to get better by doing the same things you did last year? How committed are you to your marriage for the long haul? How committed is your spouse to your marriage? Is your marriage on life support? Now, why do some couples fear commitment? Some people fear commitment. Different cultures will say, don't trust the woman, or don't trust your wife. There are all kinds of myths everywhere. But commitment means making a choice to give up your other choices. This simple truth explains why marriage can be so difficult. We don't like to give up options in life. And our culture screams at us to hang on to them all. But great marriages are based on a deep commitment that casts aside all options but one. More and more couples fear committing in marriage because they have seen so many marriages fail. Since marriage seems so much like gambling, many hedge their bets. For example, many couples live together to test their relationship. Even though studies have shown that living together before marriage increases the risk of divorce. Now, how to nurture commitment? Prayer. Remember, we said commitment is sticking to your marriage, doing all that you are capable of doing to make sure that it works and you are happy. Prayer. Seek God and His will for your life and your marriage. If you believe God led you to this marriage, then His grace will uphold you as you do your part to make it work. Spend time in honest reflection Ask God to show you how to be the spouse He wants you to be. Pray for strength and unity in your marriage. Let your actions speak louder than your words. Let your behavior reflect your commitment. Make yourself available when your spouse wants to talk. Spend time alone with your spouse. Laugh together. Date each other. Plan for your future together. Build hedges when necessary to guard against external temptations and distractions. The third one is verbalize your loving thoughts. Tell your spouse that you are committed to your marriage for the rest of your life. A man once asked a man that frequently the wife would ask, "Do you love me? Do you love me?" He said, "Yes, you know I love you." So he said he's going to frame a picture that I love my wife and put it there. So when you see it, I don't have to say it. No, the wife said, "No, if you're saying it, that's important to me." And that is because men and women are wired differently. The man is very self-confident, gets his ego boost from his work. But the woman, to a large extent, her personal feeling, her esteem is boosted by what the husband says to her. Very important. So, Yes, let your kids know that you and your spouse are committed to each other through thick and thin. Remind yourself of all the positive aspects of your relationship. It's important. What do you love about your spouse? How has being married blessed you? How has marriage made you grow? Marriage is meant to make us grow because in marriage you will see from your spouse. If, for instance, your spouse is very tidy and you are not tidy, when you get married, the way she puts everything, she takes pains to put everything in its proper place, automatically sends a message to you that, look, I am not as tidy as herself. And you can choose to grow in your tidiness. So make a list, if you have to, and review it often. A list of the things that you need to upgrade yourself in. Set goals. How would you like to see your marriage grow? What areas would you like to see improve? Map out a game plan to achieve those goals and work towards them. Seek outside help if necessary. If your marriage is not working, you can seek counsel. A lot of times they tell you, "Oh, don't let a third party hear about it." But the moment you are not listening to one another, you need a third party that will listen to you, listen to your wife, and get you together. Very important. Then get others involved. Read books on marriage. Listen to audio and watch videos on different topics on marriage. See, jokingly, they always tell us that marriage is one institution that you get your certificate before you start. It is always humorous, but there's a lot of information you need to enable you, succeed in marriage. You need a lot of information. Surround yourself with supportive individuals who share your values and want to see your marriage succeed. Form accountability partner. Seek out an older married couple to mentor you and your spouse. Some of us hang on our old perception of marriage. Our mothers, they were full-time housewives. They were not educated. Some were educated, but their husband insisted that they stay at home. Today's young girls, today's women, they are more educated. They hold down a job. So the goalpost has changed. So when you come in and you think you will treat them just the way your dad treated your mother, you are in for a shock. Because a lot of times the house you are living is the lady's company that gave her that house. The car you have may be the woman's car. So things are changing. And we have to change a lot if we are to succeed in this relationship. You have to give your wife the reason to respect you and love you as the head of the house now. You cannot just decree it because she's putting down more money and she's taking on more responsibilities. Then renew your wedding gowns on your wedding anniversary. Publicly express your commitment to your spouse. These are some measures. Now, on a practical role, more practical role, commitment means playing your role in the family, playing your role in the home, providing in the home. Even when you don't earn as much as your spouse, give a sacrificial part of your salary to ensure that she feels the impact. It's important. Begin open and honest communication. Communication is so important. When couples come, I serve in the marriage committee of my church. I will often ask the couples, have you been talking? Say yes. What have you been talking about? Different things. Have you talked about funding, chop money, who put chop money down? Say no. Have you talked about the number of children you have? No. So what have you been talking about? These are the problem areas. You talk about all this area. But communication in marriage is so important because it's the glue that oils the machinery of marriage. One way that I pursued this when we're newly married, once in a month or twice in a month, we will eat out. All the new hotels, we move Sunbreakers from Flagship, just eat. My mom was living with us for most of the time, and then we had house help, so we leave the child at home, and we will talk. We will talk over food because I discovered that talking is it's important. My wife talks more than I do, but I love her expressivity. You know, she's full of life. She can chat. She can be very exuberant. But after working for 6 years before marriage, I was used to listening to classical music, going to the hospital, coming back. And the interesting thing was that when she comes from school, I go to pick her from school. She always said she would rather I come to pick her than buy a car for her. So we will talk. But one day she was talking, and I said, hey, you talk so much, I put my but yeah, that's why I went to marry her. But you know the interesting thing, I just told myself now that when I go to work, I must think of all that transpired at work and share with her. I must grow in my ability to communicate with her. And I did that successfully. Because my children later on told us that they always hide behind our windows to know. We are always talking. What are you people talking? And today they have left the net now. Her chair in our bedroom, somewhere here, mine is here, and we still talk. That's a personal experience. But you can always, I'm not wired that way, but I had to tell myself. Those days, when I worked in Cali Hospital, it was during the UPN free health, free health and free education time. I could see 142 patients on a Tuesday. The same thing on Thursday. There was no confidentiality one here. But some of my interesting patients, they will come. They will say, my head is hot. They will give about 9 complaints. I cannot but look at them. I said, you mean you have all these complaints and you are alive? They will laugh. So when I get home, I'll transfer that to my wife through that. So that's it. Talking is important. Food is very expensive now. A lot of us cannot. But you can take your wife out for even a Crunchies or Chicken Republic. It's an investment. You are going to spend money. It's cheaper for you to eat at home. I hope you get what I'm trying to tell you. It's cheaper for you to eat at home. But you are taking her out of the drudgery of home. Women do a lot of work. We cannot compare our input into the home. In terms of physical work, compare it to what our wives put in. So when you take her out, in fact, the beautiful thing is, I know of some couples, they don't cook on Sundays. They are comfortable. They go to a hotel. It's to give the wife a break. So everybody has a survival tactics. Because when you look at it, towards the later stages of life, we are more dependent on our wives. We are the ones that cannot cook. They can go for Omugo. They can stay over there. In fact, of recent, I see some of my patients that would have gone to America. You know, they will do their physical checkup before going. Then after returning, they come back, welcome them back. Say, doctor, I'm going again in 2 weeks. She said, my husband has another wife. Some, the men don't have another wife. But my daughter has given back. It's good news. But the woman silently gives it back to the man. The time you didn't talk. In fact, there was a marriage counseling trip session that we had. The man said, doctor, I don't know how to plead with my wife, to start relating with, talking with me in the home. So my wife said, I'm not quarreling with you. I will cook your food, but just stay on your lane and I will stay on my lane. You know, that is the practice that has been on for years. When the man is at work, he has his colleagues. After work, you go to your club, the woman stays alone at home. And you don't know that it pains her. And she wants to talk. Say, I'm tired. You know, I've been busy all day. You take newspaper, 9 o'clock news. Mm-hmm. Like you say, first to do, you know the pain. Second to do is the pain. The man said, I have done everything. But, he didn't know where the rain started beating him. Didn't know where the rain started beating him. So it's like that. So, moving on. Listen attentively to your spouse. Listen, learn to listen. I learned this myself because a lot of times I multitask. So when my wife is talking, once she stops talking, she notices I have, my mind has digressed. I'm not listening. So I had to go and get one book. And I know the interesting thing as a doctor, if you don't listen well to your patient, you will get the right diagnosis. Wow. So I said, okay, I'm going to apply the same tact. I will listen to her as if I'm listening to my patient. And with that, I give my abilities. I'm telling you all this because these are things that play out. When you don't listen to your wife, how will you know what is painful to her? When she now shuts up, waiting for that time. See, power changes hand in marriage. Oh, it does. After 25 years, it's time for the woman. When the children have left school, power changes hand. Listen to your wife. Very important. And you not listen to her until you start responding to what she's complaining about. I hope I'm communicating with us.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, express your needs and desires openly and honestly. If you feel your house is not tidy, have a time. It's during the time of discussion that you express this. Do you want to further your education or start a new business or relocate from where you are presently? Share your dreams. Don't be afraid. Commitment means making yourself vulnerable, revealing the things troubling you to your spouse. And your spouse will now be encouraged to now reveal what is going on in her own mind. Try to understand your spouse's perspective on an issue bothering her. Even when you disagree, try to see the angle from which she's coming. It makes her feel respected. Share your dreams. Engage in shared activities such as watching movies or listening to talks or attending seminars, attending social functions. There are some men, they never go out with their wives. But when you go out with your wife, you have shared experiences, things to talk about. That closeness will be forged. Show appreciation and respect for your spouse's contribution to your relationship. Foster a culture of gratitude in the home. Maintain mutual respect by validating each other's feelings and individuality, thereby fostering a sense of equality. When you take seriously what is bothering your wife now believes that you take her as your mate, as your equal in the union. Learn to forgive and forget. Keep short account of wrongs done to each other. Acknowledge when you have been hurt and move on to forgiveness, allowing healing to take place, thereby strengthening the relationship. Try to understand your wife's perspective, the angle from which it's coming. Remember, you are from different backgrounds, different professions. She might see things differently. Allow her that freedom. Now, invest in your spouse. Do not see her as your competitor. See yourself as appointed to bless her. You are the senior partner in the relationship. Partner by virtue of responsibility in the home. Then nurture a positive outlook. Focus on the positive aspects of the marriage and your spouse. Practice gratitude for all your spouse is doing in their marriage. Embrace challenges as an opportunity for growth and learning, which will strengthen the marital bond. Now, how commitment fosters foundation of trust and mutual respect. Commitment builds trust and safety, allowing partners to be vulnerable and open. When a spouse feels she's not being respected, not being celebrated by the spouse, at the workplace, remember your wife interacts with people. At the workplace, a man that finds out that, that compliments your wife, she will gradually open up to him. And an affair can start. Because when you don't affirm her at home, when you don't say, oh, my beautiful wife, oh, you smell nice, oh, your hair is beautiful, somebody else is doing that, it could lead to problems. The foreign embassies they are discovering a lot of children not born to their supposed fathers. Yes, because these women, they are human beings. They have feelings. And when they don't get it from their spouse, they can fall victim to those who are ready to trap them, even though they are married. Very important. So provide stability. Commitment provides stability and resilience, helping the relationship to withstand challenges. I use the example of the American president. Then commitment encourages mutual growth. As committed partners are more likely to support each other's personal development. If you are committed to your wife and she says, look, I want to further my course, you'll be willing to look after the children and do the needful. No matter how imperfectly, you want to support her and see that, she doesn't get distracted from her studies. And a commitment deepens emotional connection, leading to a more fulfilling and satisfying relationship. Commitment acts as a promise of support and understanding, crucial for navigating life's ups and downs together. When you are not committed, you cannot stick together. And I'm telling you, the world is filled with challenges, and men, we have so much to contend with. Being the head and everybody looks at us, at work, career progression, and all. There is a lot. So you need that support. In fact, the beautiful thing about commitment is that it enables you to bring out the best from your wife so that she's able to help you succeed in your task and mission. That's the beautiful thing about commitment. And then affairs to your marriage. If you carry out all that I have listed, you will not have energy to be interested in another woman. Honestly. If you are following this, that I want to be committed to my wife, you close the door to affairs. And then for couples with children, commitment plays a crucial role in providing stable and loving environment for their family. Committed partners often work together to create a nurturing environment for their children, so that their children will blossom. And I'm telling you, 2 of our children that are married, and in their homes are more like an extension of our own homes. Because children take from home what they take to their marriage. It's what they see. The things about the family are better caught than taught. So when they see how you tenderly treat your wife, the men or your boys will want to treat their wife that same way. Your daughters will want to marry gentlemen like their dad. That's the important thing about commitment in home. And then commitment also provides a sense of accomplishment. Building a successful committed relationship can provide a sense of accomplishment. Navigating the complexities of a relationship and maintaining a strong bond over time can be a source of pride and satisfaction. Now, what are the things that erode commitment? What are the things? Infidelity. Extramarital affairs are a breach of trust and loyalty. It causes deep emotional pain and difficulty in re-establishing trust. When trust is broken, it's very difficult to mend. Lying and deceit creates suspicion and doubt in your partner. Lack of transparency, hiding things from your spouse. Lack of respect and appreciation, making your spouse feel insignificant or unloved, putting her down, comparing her to other persons. This will erode commitment. And then criticism and contempt. This damages her self-esteem. Self-esteem of females is more fragile than that of males. So when a husband criticizes, she begins to doubt herself. And with that self-doubt, she can easily fall into an affair. The poor communication, failing to communicate feelings, needs, and concerns can lead to misunderstanding. The neglecting intimacy, lack of physical intimacy, sexual intimacy, emotional neglect, that is failure to show affection or spend quality time together can lead to feelings of disconnection. Lack of shared activities, interests can also weaken the bond. Then prioritizing other relationships, spending excessive time with friends or family can create feelings of neglect and workaholism. Spending time at work, bringing work home, unresolved conflicts and resentment can take its toll of any marriage. It can lead to outbursts of anger and fights. Rounding off. Then financial problems, arguments about money, damages commitment, bad spending habits, fiscal irresponsibility, owing debts without disclosing to your partner. Then unrealistic expectations such as idealizing marriage, expecting perfection from your partner when you are not perfect yourself. Individual issues such as addiction, mental health issues, these ones, they take their toll of the marriage, makes your partner less committed, makes you less committed. So in conclusion, commitment will demand so much from you, but when established, it yields rich dividend. You see, when we are married, it's a holy wedlock. But when we are unhappy, it becomes an unholy deadlock. And we can pay any amount, from 76 billion, 38 billion, just to be free. You get what I mean? So when we attend to commitment and we maintain it, then we'll find that our mates really are helpmates. Not just dependent on them, but what we put in them. So commitment to your marriage eventually produces changes in you. It eventually produces changes in you that bring out the best in your spouse as well. So may the Lord help us to build very successful marriages. You see, the interesting thing is that God has given to us all that we need to build successful marriages. The man is strong, he's hardworking, he protects the wife, provides for the wife, but the emotional aspect of connection, he needs to tidy in spending time with her, not thinking, I'll spend time with my mate. When you retire, you are left with her. Already she had moved on, and to think she will come back to learn, to start learning communication after 25 years of marriage. Okay, you definitely will not find her doing so. She has moved on. So this is the time, this is our season. Every marriage can be improved upon. That's the message of today. And my prayer and grace is that we'll be able to build very successful homes in Jesus' name.